The Bruins could slide in the standings and play the Maple Leafs with a loss on Tuesday. Jim Montgomery and the Bruins have one last regular season game. AP photo. Matt Freed. It'll take Game 82 to determine who the Bruins will draw at the start of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Several postseason seeding slots have already been locked in with 3 days remaining in the 2023-24 regular season. The Carolina Hurricanes and New York Islanders will duke it out as the number 2 and number 3 seeds in the Metro Division, while the Maple Leafs and Lightning are entrenched as the number 3 seed in the Atlantic Division and the top wildcard team in the Eastern Conference, respectively. But even though both Toronto and Tampa Bay can't move from their respective spots, they're still waiting to find out whether or not they'll play Boston in the opening round, with Game 1 presumably set for Saturday, April 20th, at TD Garden. Boston had a chance to clinch the Atlantic Division crown for good on Monday, locking them into a matchup with the WC1 Lightning, had Jim Montgomery's team managed to beat the Washington Capitals at Capital One Arena. But with the Bruins dropping a 2-0 result to a desperate Caps team, Boston's final game on the regular season docket against Ottawa on Tuesday holds some serious sway. As the Bruins battle the Senators at TD Garden, the Atlantic Division number 2 seed Panthers will take on the Maple Leafs and potentially try to leapfrog Boston in the standings. The Bruins, 4-7-1-9-1-5, 81 games played, currently hold a 109-108 edge in points over the Panthers, 5-1-2-4-6, 81 games played. Boston still has several avenues available when it comes to winning the Atlantic, and setting up a meeting with the Lightning. A win over Ottawa, a Panthers loss to Toronto in regulation, or Boston and Florida both losing in overtime would lock Boston into that top spot in the Atlantic. Of course, a Bruins loss to the Sens in regulation and a Panthers win over the Leafs would flip Boston and Florida's spot in the Atlantic. But even a Bruins regulation loss and a Panthers loss in OT would result in Boston getting bumped down to the number 2 seed in the Atlantic. Yes, the Bruins might hold a 4-0-0 record against the Panthers during regular season play in 2023-24. But if Boston and Florida both end the year with the same amount of points, the Panthers will win that tiebreaker on account of having more regulation wins. So if the Bruins are focused on winning the Atlantic and setting up a best-of-7 meeting with the Bolts, a win on Tuesday is the easiest path forward. There is a compelling case to be made that the Bruins should opt for the alternative, dropping Tuesday's game to Ottawa and sliding down the standings in order to play the Maple Leafs instead in the first round. Boston has had its fair share of triumphs over the Leafs during the postseason over the last 10-plus years.